Welcome everybody to the Galactic Ascension Summit 2026. My name is John Knapp. I'm a galactic guide, and I'm joined by Kristen Wood.
Good morning, everybody. It's so great to see everybody's faces and logging on. We do want to welcome you to this first Galactic Ascension Summit today, presented to you by myself, Kristen Wood, and John Knapp, and hosted by Ethereal Networks. We want to thank everyone for joining us today, and we want to extend a deep gratitude to our fellow speakers, starseeds, and lightworkers for being with us here today. We've all come together in unity to embody what it means to be part of a galactic heritage. No matter your background, you have found your way here today because you know there's more to your existence. You have followed your curiosity and chosen to dive a little deeper, whether you're a seasoned metaphysician or just beginning your spiritual awakening journey. Our intention today is to support your galactic spiritual awakening, to deepen your curiosity, and to introduce you to new perspectives and possibilities. As we begin, we invite you to gently place your logical mind to the side and allow your creative, intuitive awareness to open, making space for exploration, expansion, and limitless experience. Allow yourself this possibility and this openness to receive what is meant for you today. You don't need to understand everything right away. Now, as clarity starts to unfold, you will be integrating from today's experience. For many of you, a lot of these terms might be new that you'll hear today, and we don't want you to get caught up in each term right now. We want you to feel into the energy of what we're actually saying. This will be recorded, so you can always listen back onto it later. Also, please feel free to take notes for yourself. I find for me personally that this helps with my integration of new information. And if you have questions about something specific, go ahead and write it down so you don't forget, and you can ask at the end. We will have a Q&A panel at the end. Each speaker will be presenting for 15 minutes. That's not a long time at all, because we can all be speaking about each topic for probably a couple of hours. But the intention for today is that we want to give you a glimpse and a little insight to each of these topics. We are all spiritual teachers of metaphysics that are speaking today. And you may feel called to reach out to some of us afterwards for questions, for an appointment, or to study more. I encourage you to listen to this internal call because there are many reasons why you may feel connected to each of us differently.
All right. Beautifully said, Kristen. Thank you so much. So just before we get started, just want to mention, like Kristen said, we'll be doing a panel discussion at the end for about 45 minutes. So hang on to those questions, and we'll wait to the end. Periodically, I might just mute you if for some reason you accidentally bump and mute. Each presenter will be muted and their cameras off while they are not speaking. And then at the end, all of us will get on together and put our cameras on, and then we will welcome questions and answer as many as we can in order. So feel free to think about who you'd like to ask a question to, or if you want to bring it to the whole group, and we'll see how it all goes. Feel free to use the chat during the presentation. Kristen and I will go ahead and monitor that, just so you can stay engaged and enjoy yourselves through the chat. So just want to let you know I have a full house with 2 children, two dogs running around. So from time to time, you may be hearing a little bit of yelling, screaming, barking, or scratching at the door. So my apologies. I'm going to try to stay as zen as I can. But Let's see here. So why don't we go ahead and get started with our host for today's summit, Nikki from Ethereal Television. Would like to talk a little bit about what Ethereal is and what they have to offer coming very soon. Nikki?
Hi, everybody. I am so excited to be here. And I apologize in advance because I am of the age where I'm having hot flashes. So I'm having one right now, which is why I'm fanning myself. So like I said, apologies if it's a little bit loud. Hopefully I'll cool down here in a second. But I'm really excited to be here with you guys because how often do we get a chance to hang out on a Saturday and talk about galactic stuff for hours, right? This is going to be so much fun. Like John said, I'm from Ethereal TV Networks, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that in just a second. But first, I want to say another thanks to John and Kristen for hosting, sponsoring, having this conference with us. And to let you know that I have history with John and with Kristen and with Ellie. So we've known each other for several years now. And I have been lucky enough to get a reading from these guys. And life changing. Let me tell you, today you're going to have an opportunity just to learn so much history, to hear amazing stories. If you guys get a chance to have a reading with any of our speakers, man, I couldn't encourage you to do it more because it's so much fun, right? It's so interesting, the things that you learn. Um, I learned that I'm from the Black League and Orion. So it was just really neat to hear all these things about yourself. And I'm an astrologer. That's one of the things that I like to do as well. I like all things metaphysical. And what I really love is how I can see those little ties of resonance. You know, like when somebody says something to you when you're having a reading, or if you're reading something yourself, you feel it. You know what I mean? When something lands with you and you feel it in your soul, you feel that resonance and everything just sort of clicks. And I love it when different pieces of metaphysics, you know, astrology, the galactic stuff, human design, when all of those things all sort of point the same way, because it reinforces that feeling of resonance and knowing in my soul. So it's been a pleasure truly to work with John and Kristen over these past few years. And let me tell you a little bit more about Ethereal Networks. So we are, and when I say we've got a couple of folks here who are speakers who I think also may be part of Ethereal TV Networks. And I'm going to put in the chat. Oh, Kristen did. Thank you. And Kristen, I'm gonna follow up your thing in the chat with mine because right now we've got a little issue going on with our website at Ethereal. And so you have to type that HTTPS://. You have to type that whole first part or you'll get a website error. But I would love for you guys to go and check out our website, which is in the chat, etherealtv.net. So what is Ethereal TV? In a nutshell, it is a streaming platform. It's also a dream. We're in the process of building it up right now. Although we've got it launched, we have our website. We're actually on several apps like Roku, Amazon Fire. You can actually go there and find Ethereal TV Networks. And Ethereal TV is a place for metaphysical content creators and a metaphysical audience together. So we have content partners who create exciting content about the kinds of topics that we're talking about today, and also pretty much every other metaphysical topic that you can think of that you might be interested in, there's a good chance that we have somebody that is interested in that same thing too. And Ethereal TV is kind of like a YouTube for metaphysics, like a curated YouTube for metaphysics. So you can go there and you can spend the whole day just like this, pouring through really cool metaphysical content. And right now we're in the building phase. Like I said, we're still trying to build things up to where we want to go. So if any of you guys who are attending the conference today, if you have a burning desire to be on TV, or if you feel like you have a message that is really important that you get it out to the world, or you just want the opportunity to be seen, right? To be seen in the metaphysical community, check out our website. Go to the Ethereal website and you'll be able to see on there a place where we look for new content partners. So maybe you're excited about the idea of having a show. Come to Ethereal and see if maybe it's a good fit. Also, if you're just someone that wants to learn a whole bunch about metaphysical stuff, check out our website and come, and know that right now, I think we only have maybe 4 or 5 of our content partners on the website at this moment, but we're in the process of scaling up, and soon we're going to have about 20 different shows. So keep with us, come back and check us out. And thank you again, John and Kristen, for allowing Ethereal to be part of the day today to talk about all of these really fun topics. And I look forward to seeing all of you guys, hopefully over at Ethereal TV. Kristen?
Thank you so much, Nikki, for that. We're honored that Ethereal Networks is part of this. And Nikki is also a wonderful practitioner too. So, and she's been lovely to work with. So thank you very much, Nikki. So we're going to go ahead and start, and I'm going to lead everybody in a meditation and healing transmission. So what I would like everybody to do is get into a comfortable position. You can be lying down, you can be lying on the floor, sitting on the floor, whatever position is most comfortable for you. I'm going to be doing a little bit of light language with this. And if you're not familiar with it, basically what I like to think of it as it's a vibrational and sound therapy activation technique. My light language comes out in song form, kind of like a humming. And I am not trained in being a vocalist at all. So when this was downloaded to me, I just had to laugh because, the universe brings us things that we don't expect. And I definitely did not expect to be able to sing healing transmissions. So take a nice deep breath, everybody. I want everybody to start with breathing in through your nose, if you're able to. And exhaling out your mouth. I want you to focus, bringing your breath and energy down through your lungs, past your lungs, past your diaphragm, into your lower abdomen and low back. Feel everything start to open up and start to ground and center from the inside out. Now bring that breath and energy in the next couple of breaths down to the bottom of your feet. So go through your hips, your legs, to the bottom of your feet. Connect into Gaia. Imagine her roots and green energy slowly forming around your feet and solidifying your connection into Gaia. Please ground everyone's energy cords deep into the earth. And bring the energy up their cords to the divine and create and solidify that connection to the divine. Please ground everybody's metaphysical and physical bodies together. Please do a brain balance, balancing the right and left hemispheres of the brain, the front to back, and the top to bottom, bringing that energy down the brain stem into the spinal cord. Please stimulate underactive areas of the brain and calm overactive areas of the brain. Please calm the logical sides of the brain and nourish the creativity. Please calm everyone's nervous systems. Reset those nervous systems that need to be reset, please. Transmute that energy. And I'll be channeling light language. And feel into where this settles in your body and how it helps to open up certain chakras or areas of the body. Oh. 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 Everyone take a nice deep breath in and allow a natural exhale when you're ready. Thank you. And now I will open it up to John.
All right. Thank you very much, Kristen. I feel a lot more relaxed back in my body. I appreciate you dragging me back in. Being our first summit, sometimes we can feel a little bit on the nervous side, but thank you very much for grounding everyone and providing the necessary healing for today and allowing for integrations. Before we get started with our first presenter, I would like to integrate one more thing into everybody today. Just a little backstory. Last year, I believe Kristen and I met for the first time, almost about a year to the day now, in Richmond, Virginia, along with Ellie, Basch, and a couple others who are attending today's conference as well. And Kristen is a acupuncturist, and the night before the Reiki retreat that we all attended together, she provided some acupuncture therapy to me. And she dropped a little pin right on my third eye, and I could feel it pulsating that night. Well, the next day I woke up in what I would call a spiritual hangover. No alcohol needed, just a little pinprick to the third eye. And all day, I was tired, exhausted, and just feeling like I just needed to go back to bed. But I attended the Reiki share, and throughout the day, just kept feeling like I was getting worse and worse and worse. And what I realized is that I had lost a bunch of spiritual veils that day. And spiritual veils are like those barriers that are coated around our bodies, our physical and our energetic systems. And as we begin to awaken more, those veils lift, they shed off of our energy systems, connecting us more and more to source, to ourselves, our higher selves, our I am presence. And later that evening, Kristen, Ellen Malloy, our mentor, and several other practitioners came in and assisted to help me kind of put me back together. I was like Humpty Dumpty, basically. And the next day, I was feeling much better, and I did a Reiki share with another of our another person at the retreat, and we went on this spiritual journey. And what happened was we went off into the galactic realm, and when we came back, the woman who did a healing on me presented me with this symbol. When I looked at this symbol, if you look at it now, what I saw was as above, so below, and everything in between. And I call this the galactic awakening symbol. This symbol is meant to awaken you, all of you, the star seeds, to your galactic, to your earthly realms, and everything in between. And what I'd like to do right now, before we get started with the first presentation, is I'm going to go ahead and open all of your energy systems now. And I'm going to place this symbol into your energy systems. There you go. And I'm going to place it in. Good. All right. Now, there's a couple of you that aren't ready for this symbol to be activated in your system, but I have placed it in there. And when you are ready, it will activate automatically. And it's okay if you're not ready. We're all here. We're all on our own journeys. And when we get to the point where it's ready to activate, it will in your energy systems. You can feel it right over your heart chakra. And what this symbol is going to help you do is connect more to your galactic being, your galactic soul, and your lineage from all the different lifetimes that you're ready as you grow spiritually and galactically. Good. Okay. All right. Thank you. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the first presentation.
Really quick, John, I'm just
Sure.
going to finish up integration for some
Okay.
people. Galactic Archangel Sora, and angelic archangel Jedediah, please help everyone integrate and assimilate this symbol into their systems with grace and ease, and at the pace that they are allowed to integrate while still being able to function with grace and ease.
Mhm.
Okay, that feels better. Okay, thank you.
Great. All right. So our first presenter today is Kristen Wood, LAC. Kristen is a licensed acupuncturist, psychic medium, medical intuitive, animal communicator, Reiki master, and metaphysical and spiritual teacher. With over 2 decades in healthcare, her work bridges ancient healing traditions with intuitive, energetic insight. Kristen began her career as a licensed massage therapist in 2002 and earned her experience through both clinical experience and personal healing challenges. She discovered that true wellness requires addressing the mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual dimensions of being. Intuitive from a young age, Kristen fully embraced her spiritual gifts through psychic development training, where she later became a spiritual teacher. She now offers a wide range of services, including medical intuition, psychic and mediumship readings, energy healing, animal communication, and metaphysical education. Kristen provides in-person acupuncture Reiki Plus sessions at her Alaska clinic and works remotely with clients worldwide, honoring the belief that energy knows no bounds. All right. Take it away, Kristen.
Thank you, John. Okay, so I want you to remember that no matter your background, you have found your way here today because you have a connection to the stars and the multiverse. When I was preparing for this summit, I started getting downloads a couple of weeks ago, which is pretty typical when we start to teach or we're going to do a conference or something like that. And the 3 words that really came to me was unity, banding together, and embodiment. To me, that's what this summit today signifies. And what I was shown was John and I creating the sacred space for this summit. And there was a galactic species. There was somebody from each galactic species that came as a representation of their species. And they encircled us, creating that unity. And then there were the angelic and galactic archangels that spiraled out from that circle, and they alternate each other, creating that unity within the angelic and galactic realms. Today, I'm going to be focusing a bit more on the galactic archangels, which is becoming my life's work and not anything I thought that I would be working with, even 10, even 5 years ago. Galactic archangels, they are celestial beings of light and love. They are created directly from source, and they oversee groups of galactic beings within the multiverse. Now, I am going to give you one definition here of multiverse. To me, it includes all universes and galaxies known and unknown to us, because really, even science doesn't even see the tip of the iceberg, so to speak. Galactic meaning and relating to the galaxies across the multiverse. Galactic archangels is how they came to me and asked me to speak about them. So I want you to also think about your own connections to the universe, the multiverse, and galactic beings. Some of you may be new to this information. Some of you may be working with galactic beings already. Maybe also think about your love for space, ETs, aliens, starseeds, maybe different experiences that you've had throughout your lifetime. Personally, when I think back, even before I even knew I was connected to the galactic, I was getting hints of the galactic within, at least the past 15 years of my life as I can look back. First experiences were when my husband and I bought a house, and there were portals in our home, and there was a lot of activity. Well, sometimes that activity comes with the land, sometimes it comes with the house, and sometimes it comes with the person, which I think a lot of us can relate to. And for us, it was a combination of all of that. I want you to realize, notice, take note today of how you receive messages, from your spiritual support team, other beings, the archangels, the galactic archangels. Cycle through your psychic senses. So, like I said, the galactic archangels are not from a certain area of the multiverse. They don't only help with one specific area. It's all encompassing of all the universes, all the galaxies. They do follow the universal rule as well as the angelic archangels. There's a lot of similarities there because they are an archangel. They don't come to us unless we generally are asking them for help, if we're in danger or our free will is at risk, or we are asking for divine intervention. Galactic archangels oversee groups of galactic beings. They come to those that are incarnated from galactic beings or have an ET soul strand in this current incarnation or in a past or parallel life. Not all humans have been a galactic being. Some are just human connected to the fairy realm. Some are angelic. There are those of us that have many soul strands, many different lineages that represent within this current physical incarnation. I get to be one of those lucky ones. Not everybody will have archangels on their spiritual support team. But if you're a light worker, and there's going to be many of you in this summit that you are a light worker, then you will have at least Archangel Michael on your spiritual support team. If you're of galactic heritage and a light worker, you will have Galactic Archangel Ashmar on your spiritual support team. So, Galactic Archangel Ashmar. I only have 15 minutes, so I'm going to keep it to one Galactic Archangel, but I do communicate with a lot of them, and more of them continue to come with me or come to me and introduce themselves. So Galactic Archangel Ashmar, he is the galactic counterpart to Angelic Archangel Michael. Ashmar guides galactic light workers and galactic warriors on divine assignments related to the galactic. He leads legions of angels and has a strong protective presence. He presents with a male energy to me, and he appears to me in a like a silver gray form with sparkles like distant stars all over his skin. He wears a white robe with a thick blue vertical stripe down one side. So if you carry a galactic heritage and are a light worker, Ashmar will likely be on your spiritual support team. So how you spell Ashmar is Oshmar. So one thing about the galactic archangels is, and any beings, they all can present to us a little bit differently. And so that's okay if you do not see exactly what I see, if you do not hear exactly what I hear. It is the energy that they want you to connect with, okay? Galactic archangels, they appear much differently to me than angelic archangels. Their energy is very different. To me, they're a lot more bright and colorful. I see like a lot of more like kind of fluorescent colors. I see a lot of sparkles like the stars, their representation and connection to the galactic. Some of them, I mean, they look very spacey compared to the angelic archangels. And some of them have animalistic features to them too, with kind of more of a elongated kind of human body. But to me, I am shown, and you will be shown what you are ready for with anything that we are introduced to. So just know that. So when they come to me, when a new galactic archangel comes to me, I see colors, I feel their energy, I know their energy, I channel information from them. They tell me their name. They tell me maybe like their angelic counterparts, so that I have an idea of what they are here to help with. And then I ask them how I can be of service to them and how they can be helping me as well. So a few messages from the galactic archangels. I got this morning actually in meditation because I was like, well, do you guys have any specific messages that you want to give today? And some of these messages might sound very simplistic, but sometimes those simple messages hit the strongest and they go the deepest. So I want you to sit on those messages. The first message was, connect to us through your heart chakra. Lead with love and light. Lead through your heart chakra. I always thought I was too sensitive growing up. And little did I know that I do lead with my heart chakra. And it needs healing every so often, and it's needed a lot of healing from life's experiences. But that's how I first was introduced to them, is because I was leading from the heart. So walking you through breath work to open up your heart chakra, breathe in through your nose and out your mouth. Feel that energy and your breath open up into your heart chakra. They are here to help guide you along your path and help you to remember and awaken to who you are and your potential. They want to introduce the galactic sacred space to you if you are not familiar with that. When John and I started teaching about the galactic a couple of years ago, over 2 years ago now, I think, I was introduced to the galactic sacred space. If you are a starseed or an incarnated galactic being, you have a galactic sacred space. This galactic sacred space is yours. It's only for you, and it is a safe space that was created just for you. You can meditate there. You can just be. You can hold meetings there. You can meet with new members of your spiritual support team that are of galactic origin as well. Remember that you have a choice. You have free will. So if something does not feel right and you are meeting a new galactic being or a being of any origin, ask your spiritual support team, ask the archangels if it serves you and if it serves you in this moment, because you can say no. Use your discernment. Messages from the collective consciousness of galactic beings. We're here to support and guide you. We cannot do things for you. We cannot jump in and change what has been created for you. We are already living amongst you in disguise and have been for a long time, as long as humans have been present. So many humans are incarnated galactic beings. Many humans are incarnated with many different soul strands. And we will continue to show ourselves and be a part of the human race, and we will start to become more visible. And this has been also a message that they have told me for a couple of years. But it is important for people to hear that. Collective consciousness, to me, this helps to describe how we are energetically and spiritually interconnected. Each of our experiences helping us to continue the growth and expansion of the divine and our collective consciousness. Now, we all may work with the galactic archangels. I'm going to scoot back to them a little bit differently. So we can connect with them in many different ways. And ways that I like to work with them and connect with them is they come to me in meditation. I talk to them throughout the day, usually in my head so I don't look so crazy. I mean, we're all a little crazy, you know, but in a good way. And they work with me a lot with doing Reiki Plus treatments with my remote clients and with my acupuncture Reiki Plus appointments as an acupuncturist in my clinic. So there's many ways that you may see them. You may notice different patterns on how their energy is and how they start to show themselves to you and how they start to work with you. As long as you are open and you are asking for that guidance, they will show up. But remember, when you are asking for guidance or help from any archangel, be prepared to work with them. Be prepared to maybe wait a little bit as you learn how to work with them and learn how to receive their messages. Because archangels, they're not going to work against you and your free will. So when you are ready, they are already waiting. The sacred space, because I think I have maybe another minute. The sacred space, the way that I like to connect to it is I will ask Angelic Archangel Michael and Galactic Archangel Ashmar to take me there. That's how I started, was envisioning the light tunnel. And the light tunnel to get to my galactic sacred space is different than just to go to my earthly sacred space. This is purple, and it's like, for me, it's like shooting through like hyperspace, like you would see in Star Wars. Things are very floaty there. Gravity is different there for me. Plants are floating, animals are floating. The waterfall in my sacred space is floating. It's a continuous cycle of going down and coming back up automatically. Myself and little animals, we can walk on air. It's very freeing. One time I saw one of my Galactic Archangel spiritual support team members. He was running upstairs, but there were no stairs visible. But I could see just like every step that he was taking, I could see it just kind of like bink, like he was on there. I have an amphitheater in there as well, because I do talks and teachings within my sacred space too. And so that just gives you an example of what a galactic sacred space might look like. And one more thing about galactic archangels, they're not male or female, but I say male or female when I talk about them because they have that energy that shows me how I can differentiate between the female and male energies. So I hope that makes sense. And I know I'm running out of time, John, and ready for the next speaker. I think I also just saw a hand go up, but we are going to just go ahead and jot those questions down. And if you have questions at the end, then we're going to do a Q&A panel after all the speakers. We've gone through all the speakers, okay? And thank you so much for allowing me to share with you today. Okay, and I'm going to introduce the next speaker here, which is John Knapp. Okay, so just a fun little thing. So John and I are twin souls. We're co-creators in many different things. We teach together. We have the summit together. It's been a lot of fun. We've known each other for much longer than we have in this physical experience. But introducing John Napolitano, I probably said that wrong. So John Knapp is a galactic guide, spiritual teacher, Akashic reader, psychic, medium, and healer. His path to a spiritual service has been anything but conventional. Starting as a US Marine, then a DC police officer, and later a filmmaker. But beneath it all was a lifelong calling to serve and a deep connection to the unseen. After a powerful spiritual awakening in 2020, John began seeking answers beyond the physical world. Not long after, he started receiving visitations from galactic beings, triggering a profound galactic awakening. This opened the door to the galactic Akashic records, higher dimensional connections, and a deeper understanding of soul journeys beyond Earth. Today, John helps lightworkers and starseeds awaken their gifts, heal karmic patterns, and reconnect with their true multidimensional selves. Take it away, John.
All right. All right. Thank you, Kristen. Okay, so I don't want to go over too much. So last June, I received a message from the Galactic Federation, and it was interesting because I don't generally reach out and make contact with too many beings unless I'm working within the Galactic Akashic records during readings or actively looking for meditations or information. But the Galactic Federation reached out to me, and they showed me that within a year, there will be a contact level event to alter the Earth's timeline that we're currently in. And what they showed me was that a ship would come out of a stargate within the sky and emerge, and then go back through the stargate. Now, the idea is that they would not be coming through and landing just on the White House lawn or anything along those lines and making contact in that way. Instead, it's more of just a ease in for humanity to finally realize and to have that succinct evidence that we are not alone. Now, I know that a lot of people talk about this, about a contact or a flash in the sky or whatever it may be. And the understanding is that the Galactic Federation, as well as all the other individual star races, have been watching over us for thousands of years. And they have, because of the non-intervention treaties after the fall of Atlantis and Lemuria, have taken more of a step back and observational role, as well as at times acting as channels and guides for many of the starseeds that have been on this planet in our last 10, 12,000 years, helping to slowly ascend Earth's consciousness from where it had landed after the fall of Atlantis and Lemuria. And just a couple of weeks ago, I wanted to get a little more clarification and find out a little more information, because I wanted to do kind of that sanity check. Was this just a dream? Was this not? And I did a meditation and actively connected with the Galactic Federation. And I asked, when will we actually be receiving a contact? And the message they gave me was June 24th of 2026. They didn't share the timeline or the time zone, so I can't tell you if it's happening in Australia or if it will be happening in New York. What they did show me again is the same thing. They showed me a stargate opening up in the sky, and what I saw was more of a spherical orb that came out of the stargate and just came through, enough to take pictures, enough to take videos, enough for thousands, if not millions or billions to see for their own eyes, and then go back right into that Stargate. And that's it. Now, what is the intention? The intention is to slowly reveal themselves. They are not planning to save us. If that's what many of you might be thinking, they're not planning to walk among us right away. They do not, they understand that just coming down on the White House lawn or anywhere else in the world and starting to meet leaders is not the right course of action, because humanity is just not there yet. What they want to do is provide an awakening for us to understand that we are not just alone on this planet. Over the past couple of decades, and really in the last few years as well, we've been hearing more in like our U.S. Senate hearings and things like that, that there is disclosure coming through, and then there's a lot of mixed messages. What all that is kind of a preparation for us to let us know that there is something out there, so there isn't such a shock. But there will be people shaken. I call them Earth seeds. These are the Earth soul group that descended from Source and came directly onto Earth, and have only inhabited souls that have only been in human bodies, or human, or even as fairies or other elemental beings on this planet, but have never been in the galactic realm. These Earth seeds will most likely have the greatest shock. Because they just don't have that inner knowing like us star seeds. No. Now, this doesn't make star seeds or incarnated extraterrestrials any better than Earth seeds. Just because we've been around the block a few times doesn't mean that we are better than them. What we are, we are sources of light and anchors of that light for the humans, for Earth seeds to be a part of, to help them awaken to their multidimensional lives, as well as the intergalactic aspirations that they can have. In the universe is a living being, just like the Earth is a living being. And what happens on Earth is just like what would happen to possibly in a cell or an organ of a body, of a living organism. And what happens on Earth will affect the rest of the universe. So it is in humans, in Earth seeds, as well as star seeds' best interests that are incarnated here on this Earth to ascend and to learn more about their galactic roots and where they've come from, and how Earth started and humanity started here on Earth. And once the Galactic Federation does start to make themselves known and starts to begin easing things in, they're going to provide assistance more actively, not on the ground, not boots on the ground like you might think, but more as awakenings, people starting to activate and learn more about their own galactic heritage. And that's when we're going to start learning more about these different mythical cities like Atlantis and Lemuria, and that knowledge is going to start understanding more, because the veil around the Earth is going to start to thin, and that gradual thinning and awakening will allow us to begin ascending more and anchor more deeply into the fifth dimension. Earth is now anchored into the fifth dimension, and we've seen some of the dark night of the soul aspects of the Earth anchoring into the fifth dimension through tsunamis, earthquakes, megastorms. These aren't things that you would think of as possibly a punishment of the Earth on humanity, but more of it just releasing those spiritual veils as kept the Earth anchored into the third dimension and the fourth dimension. Just as humans go through their dark nights of the soul and their spiritual awakening, the earth is doing the same thing and is anchoring into the fifth dimension now. And that will allow humanity and us starseeds to also anchor more fully into the fifth dimension. Let's see. Okay, looks like I'm just about over, so I don't want to dig into our next presenter. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave that with you. One more thing. When we started to set the sacred space earlier today, before we let everybody in, I closed my eyes and I felt the energy and the presence of an Arcturian. And I know we have a lot of Arcturians, not only on our panel, but also in the audience today. But this Arcturian wanted to send me a message, and he's going to drive me nuts if I don't say anything. So basically, the Arcturian message is that we are here to support you. We are here to assist and help anchor you into the fifth dimension. Don't be afraid of what's out there. Don't be afraid that we could fall, that humanity can fall from grace again. This is not going to be allowed to happen. We are with you. We are within your hearts. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and move on to our next presenter. Okay, our next presenter is Jordon Richards. He also goes by Aurelius Cheyenne. I hope I got that right, Jordon. Jordon is a multidimensional teacher, founder, Ray, architect, and ascension systems facilitator, whose work bridges human evolution with galactic and universal consciousness. Through an advanced multidimensional embodiment process, he underwent 10 oversoul convergence activations, integrating parallel soul aspects and founder ray intelligence from Andromedan, Sirian, Arcturian, Pleiadian, and Orion light stream lineages. A certified QRIT master, Jordon is authorized to initiate and certify students in quantum regression and integration therapy, and is extensively trained across multiple transformational coaching modalities, including quantum alignment coaching, quantum human design, spiritual life coaching, emotional mastery, and leadership systems. He is an Arcturian Reiki master, 5D Arcturian healing practitioner, chakra healing practitioner, Genesis doctor, and trained channeling practitioner, as well as a creator within the temples of Aurealis, where he develops high-frequency activation systems. All right, Jordon, I'm going to leave it off there of your beautiful bio, just so we can give you a chance to speak. So go ahead and take it away, Jordon.
Oh, thank you very much. Pleasure to be here, and thank you very much to all the speakers, hosts, and presenters for the invite. So, as you've heard, obviously my human name, Jordon Richards, but my spirit name is Aurelius Cheyenne, and that was given to me directly through my communication with, obviously, my spirit team, because I'm also a medium in the UK and teacher, etc. I also have other names, which are my harmonic name and essence name, and these create my unique soul triad of essence and harmonics. So as you've heard, I'm a master practitioner. I am here to talk to you about human regression integrated therapy, which John called QRIT. So that's the abbreviation of it. This is a modality very similar to QHHT by Dolores Cannon, but the difference here is that QHHT can only be done in person, and QRIT actually is the future version of it, or the more modern version of it, if you will, where it can be done through the energetics of globalization. So I can have a client in America, Australia, or wherever. Once we connect with the quantum field and beyond, anything is possible. So I know that was touched upon within Kirsten's beliefs, etc., and I would definitely second that, along with most of the other presenters as well. So excuse me one sec, let me just get a breath. Right, okay. So quantum regression therapy, it's a soul stream regression system. Basically, it can be dealt with in relation to all aspects of your human self, in relation to relieving human conditions. But as we know, as a galactic collective, these are all energetic, blocks or feelings that we have within our body that can be removed through the energetics of most modalities of healing, to be fair. But obviously quantum is an accelerated version of other healing, which is why I sit in this area now. Sorry. Right. Okay. So if I was to do a level 1 healing with you, just to give you a bit of an insight, because there's three levels. There's level 1, level 2, and there's masters. Level 1 is more about like, where are you feeling your aches and pains? I would take somebody into a regression, sacred space, all the rest of it. And then we would connect, but I am the facilitator, and I just need to reiterate that. I am the facilitator. You are the person who would guide and actually tell me as the observer of what is actually causing you issues within your normal life. We would access the quantum field. I would obviously be receiving information over and above what you're receiving from your galactic connections, your other, your ancestors, your other spirit team members. And between the two of us, obviously the formula that is created would then energetically be put into place to remove those energetic blocks, the pain, the suffering, whatever it may be. Some of the, not me personally, this one, but there is another curate master who is based in Australia, who has had a client recently with stage 4 cancer. And this has just come to my attention over the last couple of weeks. And through 6 sessions already, and bear in mind these sessions are 2.5 to 3 hours long. So it's quite a lot of work. They have actually reduced that person's diagnosis to a stage 2. And I know that's quite a big claim, but when we believe that, we are more than what we are in the physical body, I believe that, most certainly my belief is anything can happen. And we are obviously our own creators. So if we have the belief that something is removed, yes, it takes time to move and shift. But if we allow and flow with that process, the benefits of the healing that during that session would be, of great importance for yourself to bring in more of who you are and why you're here on an individual and a collective basis. So I tend to use a lot of my other multi-dimensional skills as a trance medium, as obviously my galactic side, as you've heard. I have multiple kind of like connections there. So they all get involved in a curate session. So I use a golden pyramid soul fragment retrieval system. I also use a crystalline timeline reconciliation matrix. I also am very connected to the flame body oversoul interface. I know these are big expressions, but obviously we're limited by time, so feel free to ask questions later. We also are able to access celestial blueprinting rays through the Blue Star healing lineages, and obviously the founder codes, which is the interdimensional collapse points, which brings through, if you think of like 3 layers here, we've got the human existence, a bit like the symbol that John showed earlier on. We've got as above, so below, and then we have the reality line in the middle. So if you think of yourself as just as on the below side, the middle bit would be the filter of infinite possibility, but you've got to like bring through whatever it is from the quantum field through that filter to actually manifest it in your own reality. So it's similar to the sign, but slightly different. If I can get the symbol, I will share it. Through obviously multiple embodiment sessions, as you've heard, I've been able to access obviously multiple galactic lineages, very connected to obviously my Syrian side, which is my highest or most dominant connection this lifetime. I do know that somebody's in the wings wanting me to give a message as well, and I'm like, no, just hold on. So I do apologize. So yeah, so with anything that is hypnotic, or uses that type of modality, what I would say to you is that yes, Cura is very, very different. This is what I really need to kind of say is that yes, it is very, very scripted, but as you can tell with what I've already said with Cura, it's very, very free flowing, because we allow things to actually happen rather than a more scripted version, which is what I believe and know that QHHT use. So it's very much about the independence of the person that's in the session, and what is in their highest good to come forward at that time. So things that obviously can happen is we reunify fragmented soul aspects within your body. We can anchor in the oversoul of your body as well. We can repair your light body and your matrix, and that includes obviously sacred geometry that you have within your body. All the zodiac signs are obviously within your body as well, and that's all other information, but it's coming to light more and more. We can also activate soul contracts through this, and your Stargate alignments. As John's kind of like gave you that intergalactic message as well. I've had similar information and downloads with regards to that. So the activations emerged through curate sessions can really kind of like bring in your highest DNA blueprint. We can take you through a level 1, which is more about the human side. But if we access a level 2 or a master session, these are obviously much higher, and are very selective, because you have to go through a little bit of a I mean, it's always what I would say is you would be better off starting with a level 1 with any curate practitioner, and then advancing to a 2, and then advancing to a master level, just because it can be a little bit discombobulating for somebody who wants to jump to a master level healing if they're not ready. So obviously there's a lot of pre-session work in relation to that, to find out what session is actually in your highest good. And obviously I would receive that directly from my team. So why this work matters is obviously we're all opening up as starseeds, galactic awareness, the wider knowledge that's coming out. So this is a framework that has been designed for your highest good through the harmonic embodiment. And obviously I've been adding to this through my own embodiment work. And from that, I've brought forward auralist activations, which obviously covers some of the other things that I've said. But we can also do planetary codex repair, collective repair, energetic transmissions that obviously flood the ethereal grid, and then is downloaded to the collective. I actually had a one-to-one session on the 11th of this month, so about a week ago, and there was a huge activation for a lot of people on a global scale, which will be coming in about a week or two's time. It's linked to the supermoon of next week. So what I would say to you here is if you feel the need that you've got something that's kind of like niggling, and you've maybe looked at other therapies, and I'm not dissing any therapies, because I'm a Reiki practitioner, master, etc. So I sit in multiple modalities, but it's getting the right modality to sort you basically on an energetic scale. And this can be sometimes Reiki, because it's not as dense to remove from the body. But if you've brought something in from a past life or another galactic lifetime across, obviously, time is not linear here, but if you've brought that in and it's maybe lying dormant, or it's causing a problem because it's starting to surface, this is where this level of healing would come in, really. Just to give you an idea of One Pacific with regards to a healing, and then I'll have to stop due to time, is that I recently did a session on somebody at the back end of last year, and the result was quite phenomenal. It actually made me aghast with it, due to they were so like ready for it, even although they probably didn't realize it at the start of the session. They just really allowed, and during the session, they emotionally broke down as part of the healing process. So relieving and releasing, and then allowing new things to come in. But because we had opened that quantum field and the oversoul and the harmonic thread and everything else, the amount of stuff that came in for them to fully activate themselves has been quite significant. They're now channeling outwardly. They've now gave up their full-time job. I know that they've resigned from it this month, and they're ready to step into, their galactic self as their human self, and start doing the work on a wider basis, as we all do when we have that awakening. So thank you very much for allowing me to share a little bit about quantum healing, and the wider activations that I do. And I shall hand it back over to our lovely presenters. So thank you.
Kristen, you're on mute. I can't hear you. Can everybody hear Kristen?
No, she was muted.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me now?
There we go.
Oh, okay. Well, I was saying, thank you, Nikki. Jordon, it was lovely to hear you speak about what you do and how you work with people. And thank you so much. Okay, on to the next presenter is Elizabeth Hazzard, licensed acupuncturist. And what's really fun about Beth is that we went to acupuncture school with her, my husband and I, and she was our shiatsu teacher. So it's really fun to reconnect with you, Beth. So thank you for being part of the summit as well. So Elizabeth Hazzard is the founder of Satori Shiatsu School and Holofractal Soul Integration, where she bridges classical Chinese medicine, Zen and quantum shiatsu, somatic awakening, and cosmological science to support embodiment, sovereignty, and multidimensional evolution. Her path began in high school through meditation and alternative medicine, leading her into decades of study in touch-based awakening practices. She trained extensively in Zen Shiatsu in the US and internationally, earned a master's degree in classical Chinese medicine, and has taught Shiatsu for over 15 years. Her work is grounded in long-term Qigong and internal cultivation, honoring the body as a living interface of consciousness. Alongside her classical training, Elizabeth has deeply studied the physics and cosmology of Nassim Haramein through the Resonance Science Foundation, including immersive retreats and field experiences in Tulum and Greece. These initiations catalyzed the development of holofractal soul integration, a method that unifies the soul record, meridian system, and cosmological field into a single continuum of intelligent design. Through her clinical practice and teachings, programs, including holofractal shiatsu, access of alchemy, and zero-point somatics, Beth supports humanity's transition into a harmonic era by guiding practitioners and seekers to embody coherence, fractal remembrance, and their soul's true mission. Okay, Beth, take it away.
Hi, everyone. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be here. Kristen, this couldn't be more fun to reconnect in this way. So I'm going to jump in. Oh, I also, part of my work is doing soul records readings as a galactic astrologer as well. Just thought I'd throw that one in there, and I'm going to share a screen to get started. Here we go. And hang on, I always have this little, is it going to do it? There we go. Perfect. Okay, so put on your seatbelts. I'm going to really download some info here. Okay, so What I'm talking about here is the galactic genome, and I'm going to explain some things about our genetics that connect us to the galactic community and connect us genetically to galactic evolution and ascension. So what I'm presenting today is a very specific hypothesis. We will explore the idea that human DNA contains physical genetic input that did not solely originate on Earth. And that input entered the human genome at key evolutionary thresholds. So this was a biological influence, it was genetic, and it carried information that directly shaped human consciousness. So when I say the galactic genome, I'm referring to inherited biological information that connects humanity to a larger galactic lineage. And when I talk about consciousness, I'm talking about language, symbolism, ethics, memory, cosmology, all of these capabilities that appear with Homo sapiens sapiens and fundamentally change what it means to be human. Let's see, next slide. Oh, there we go. So when evolution is explaining gradual physical change very well, right? This is something we all understand and have learned in school. That part is not what is in question here. What's difficult to explain is the sudden leap in human consciousness. So anatomically, modern humans appeared about 300,000 years ago. But the sudden emergence of symbolic thought, language, ritual, and cosmology doesn't happen until later. So roughly about 70,000 to 50,000 years ago. And that's the moment evolution, so the concept, the theory of evolution, is struggling to explain. So with Homo sapiens sapiens, we don't just see better tools, we see also symbolic language, art, ritual, burial of the dead, abstract time awareness, and cosmology. And these capacities appear rapidly, not gradually. The body changes slowly through evolution, but this consciousness shift happened in a very rapid way. So the question isn't, is evolution wrong? The question is, what's missing from the model when it comes to this rapid expansion in consciousness? So here's what gets grounded. So here we look at what we already know is that genetic integration accelerates evolution. Modern humans carry Neanderthal and Denisovian DNA. That integration was physical, it was inherited, and it produced real functional traits: immune function, altitude adaptation, neurological differences. And this establishes a precedent. When a species reaches a certain threshold, genetic integration can occur, and evolution can accelerate rapidly. So this is not speculative. It's already written into our genome. So the real question here is this the only time integration happened? Sorry. So modern genomics has identified segments of the human genome with unresolved ancestry. So we have genetic material that does not clearly trace back to any known hominin population on Earth. This tells us something super important. The human genome is not a closed system. Our origin story is still being assembled. So when a biosphere is seeded, and many of you are probably aware of the idea of our Earth being terraformed and the species, including the humanoid species on this planet, being seeded potentially from other parts of our galaxy that were then further seeded from other parts of the universe, right? So when a biosphere is seeded according to terraforming and galactic seeding, when a life is cultivated over deep time, genetic material does not all enter at once. There's sort of this process. So it enters in stages at thresholds. So what I'm suggesting is that some of this unresolved genetic material reflects physical biological input from non-terrestrial galactic civilizations, introduced deliberately during key phases in human development. So this means that when we got to a certain evolutionary stage with the genetics that we had at a certain point, that there may have been an intervention. So this is through real genetic integration, the same way we already understand this hominin admixture to occur. So all of the different hominin races, as they were, hybridizing on the planet, there may have been other inputs, right? So DNA is not just a chemical blueprint. It's responding to frequency, light, resonance, and electromagnetic fields. So biophysics increasingly shows that DNA stores, transmits, and receives information. This means DNA behaves less like a static code and more like an interface, a communicative system embedded in a larger information field. If that's true, then genetic input doesn't just change bodies, it changes how a species perceives reality. So consciousness is not separate from biology, it's one of its expressions. Biology does not exist in isolation. Living systems are embedded in larger information fields. Space, matter, and life are interconnected. The body participates in a unified field, constantly exchanging information with its environment. This gives us a mechanism for how advanced information could enter biology physically, not symbolically, not spiritual and physical don't necessarily are not separate concepts, honestly. They are interfacing. They're just different layers of our reality, right? So it reorganizes the entire system: perception, memory, cognition, and culture. So this brings us to galactic lineage. So we're not just talking about identity, we're talking about biological memory. So genetic inputs can shape evolutionary leaps. Once integrated, that information is carried forward through reproduction. So over generations, it can remain latent until environmental, biological, or cultural conditions activate it. So this reframes awakening experiences. Many people today don't feel like they're learning something new. They feel like they're remembering, right? That's what's happening here with so many of us who are having these awakening experiences and connecting to a greater framework of reality. We have the hardware for it already in our bodies. So they feel like they're remembering. And if DNA functions as a fractal antenna, that makes sense. Memory becomes self-referential across time and space. So at a certain point, the pattern becomes impossible to ignore. Across cultures, across continents, across thousands of years, we see repeated accounts of anomalous conception. And so in addition to these potential interventions with the actual evolution through perhaps some kind of gene splicing, I'm suggesting here, there are also these anomalous births, these anomalous conceptions. So this is biologically unusual births. These are accounts where normal sexual reproduction is absent, altered, delayed, interrupted, or technologically manipulated. And the result is always the same, right? A being who arrives carrying extraordinary information. We have examples like Yeshua, the central figure of Christianity. I don't know that he likes to be totally connected to that as a religion, but he's conceived without a human father. Lao Tzu, the founder of Taoism and author of the Tao Te Ching, is conceived through an encounter with a celestial light and carried far beyond normal gestation. Huang Di, who wrote the Yellow Emperor's classic of internal medicine. This is one of the primary texts of Chinese medicine. This is the Yellow Emperor. He is considered the progenitor of Chinese civilization and medicine, and is conceived after his mother encounters lightning or radiant energy described as a transmission from heaven. And even our classic of herbalism was written or downloaded or received by a being known as Shen Nong, the legendary founder of herbal medicine, and he's born through divine influence as well. Then we have Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, conceived after the Queen Maya dreams of a luminous being entering her side. Zoroaster, the founder of one of the world's earliest ethical cosmologies, is born of a lineage prepared for generations with light surrounding conception and preserved seed. Horus from the Egyptian pantheon is conceived post-mortem through genetic essence. We have Quetzalcoatl, we have Krishna, and many more. And so these different cultures and languages see the same biological anomaly. And what we're looking at here is the potential for further genetic interventions over time that are seeding these bloodlines. And so this is what we can see this in the form of what we've understood to be myth, but in fact, potentially the myth is a way of our history being preserved and propagated over time. And the story sometimes changes. The story sometimes becomes conflated with things that don't necessarily reflect the truth. But if we look deep into it, we start to see that, yes, in fact, truth is there. And these are potentially real beings that lived here on the planet and propagated higher consciousness in another way, right? So let me see here. I'm moving ahead so I don't get off. But so this is all information downloaded. It can be downloaded in the form of genetics. It can be downloaded in the form of scripture and ancient texts and other types of information. But it's information, not necessarily data, but it's in that which enters form, structure, geometry, or law. So it's actually embedding on the field. And it's that movement of that information, of the structure on the field, right? And so it's entering and reorganizing it. And that's what these anomalous births were introducing. They were introducing these key codes for ascension, not as escape, but biological and cultural repatterning. I know I'm going fast, people. I got something to say. So anyway, so these individuals seeded bloodlines, they're information carriers, certain lineages that stabilize specific capacities, empathy, symbolic thought, non-local perception, all of this advanced DNA that has been sort of erroneously referred to as junk DNA actually shows that there are whole big portions of our genome that hold the capacity for the higher intelligent human being. So the Pleiades, what we see, it shows up in scripture, indigenous sky traditions, agricultural calendars, cosmology, and it appears again and again throughout history, throughout myth, throughout scripture, throughout legend. And it's showing that when we became Homo sapiens sapiens, when we moved from 22 to 23 chromosomes, that there wasn't a gradual evolutionary shift. It was a species level genetic intervention. And this was a hybridization event with a humanoid lineage that was biologically compatible. So they were enough advanced that they could be inserted into our genome so that we could advance with them. So humanoid lineages in the Milky Way galaxy appear to originate in Lyra and then diversify throughout the galaxy. So by the time Earth hominins reached that threshold, many galactic races would likely have been too far advanced to interface safely with our biology. So this Pleiadian lineage appears to represent a compatibility threshold, close enough genetically, advanced enough cognitively to successfully integrate with the emerging human genome. And that initial hybridization appears to be species-wide, meaning this isn't something only a few people carry, it's something everyone carries. Now, does that mean every single human is going to wake up to those genetics? Not necessarily. And for some of the reasons that we've already discussed here today, that there are those that were born into this planetary system and they are that earth seed, let's say, and they haven't necessarily reached the threshold in their own personal ascension in order to activate all the DNA and like be able to like receive all the memory, right? But it is there. And what I find fascinating is that when you look at so many people having an awakening experience, they're basically saying, I'm Pleiadian. And it's like, yeah, you are. We all are. And it's in there functioning as a fractal antenna, doing recursive information exchange with Pleiades themselves, with these beings. And so there are some through their own galactic heritage that represents past incarnations in the Pleiades, and this is a little bit different. Those would be we are Pleiadian hybrids, and some are what we would call Pleiadian starseed as well. So then they're remembering, they may have memory of, I have memory of Pleiadian incarnations where these are bridging starseed that are here to help activate the collective human genome that has the full capacity that was literally seeded here many, many, many years ago.
All right. Thank you so much,
Oh,
Beth.
yes, that's good. I got it. Thank you so much.
Let's see here.
I will unshare. Hang on. There we go. Stop share. Okay.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thank you so much, Beth. So much information, and very, similar to what I've seen in the records with, genetic manipulation, enhancement, and everything else, that humanity jumped from hominid to, humans on the Earth scene. All right, so our next speaker is Jose Antonio. Jose has been practicing astrology since 2010, developing his craft through self-guided study and intuitive exploration. As a self-taught astrologer, he has cultivated tremendous freedom in how he learns, often drawing insight directly from his own chart and those of others while creating his own systems, including his signature microastrology. Working with more than 180 asteroids, and conducting extensive research on the ones that call to him, he often receives such rich downloads of information that he sometimes bypasses the traditional planets altogether. His work seamlessly supports multiple branches of astrology, including natal, medical, mundane, synastry, locational, evolutionary, and vocational. Though newer to galactic astrology, his readings already reveal deep resonance with galactic past life themes. No matter the discipline, Jose approaches astrology as a lifelong path of study, remembrance, and expansion. All right, go ahead, take it away, Jose.
Thank you for having me. Everybody can hear me, right? I can. Okay, let me time myself here, just in case. 13 minutes. Okay. I like what I've heard before. I actually found the connection between what Beth was talking about, or Elizabeth, and I think it was somebody else earlier. Anyways, the fact that there's connection between the physical and the non-physical, but you kind of get the story. So let's see here. How do I start this one? So galactic astrology is technically, for those who don't know why it's called galactic in the first place, is because it's working with anything outside, technically, of standard astrology, which is usually all the way up to Pluto. Planetary bodies are so important in astrology because they represent the what. They're like the actors of the stage. Anyways, we're not going to go into an astrology lesson, but what I found very interesting about galactic astrology is that it actually started with my research on a bit of like what, I don't know, for some reason I was just guided to it, and just like, okay, so I saw these people posting on things like there's this was a YouTuber called Cosmic Empress. She talked about the Hadarians, and they're from a specific planet constellation called Ptolemons. I believe it's a Ptolemon, and it resonated a lot with me, and it kind of just blew up from there, where I was just wondering, well, what's all that stuff like? Why does it resonate with me when she said there was a lot of people in the LGBTQ community? She said, according to her experiences when she did her healing, a lot of them come from that constellation. So I was just like, okay, what's going on here? So, and I went through other things as well, and then I basically, I don't know, I think it was just everywhere, and I like the fact that it was random, Moon in Aquarius. Um, um, but what I noticed was that when I was doing my research on asteroids, because I thought, well, what are these asteroids? Are they necessary? And so I noticed that when I started doing my own research on them, I basically went from what people say about them, the mythology behind them, and then I said I got this like I got this huge push to be like it started about 2 years ago, and the messages I was getting was go here, go here, go here, go here, go here, and they told me to expand into the other fields of astrology, literally saying, what does this represent medically? Literally went into like vitamins, what to do with um, what parts of the body it resonates with. So I do the same thing with such real research. I mean, like when I say real, I mean for me, um, like an asteroid would be like about, I don't know, 4 to 10 pages long, single space. And I have this what started as a cheat sheet became this huge, humongous, gargantuan encyclopedia of over 800 something pages, single space. And I'm not bragging, I'm just saying it's just like, how did it get to this point? I'm just like, what? So when you're having fun, when you're going from the heart, right? And you're just enjoying things, you're just going. Pfft. So I do the same thing now with fixed stars. I'm actually going into black holes as well. Um, and so with galactic astrology, I noticed that people get curious about it because they're like, where's my galactic origin, right? Where is this and all that stuff? It will show in your chart where it is. So, for example, if you see Arcturus, which is a very popular, because there's a lot of them, um, it's still in the sign of Libra right now, I believe. And so people who have that in their birth chart, if I learned this from, I'm just going to credit two people actually. There's Julia Balaz, who does galactic astrology, but she does it through a healing process. She has a thing called Q something as well. So it's quantum something. I forgot what it's called. Julia Balaz, Balaaz. And Philip Sedgwick, for those who know, I don't know, I think, Beth, I think you know Philip Sedgwick. So he does galactic astrology as well. So he introduced a lot of stuff like even dwarf planets, black holes, quasars, you name it, right? So black holes are very interesting, I find, because I have one conjunct my sun. It's a crazy placement, but to kind of further go into this one, I wanted to go straight into something that I found very interesting. And I'll show you right here. I'm going to share my screen. My turn. Where I'm going to go into, hopefully you can see this one here. So I noticed that for people, like I noticed when John mentioned the date June 24th, just this year, right? So I thought, oh, wait a second, what's transiting right now? So I noticed that there's going to be Betelgeuse, or specifically, I forgot what it's called. Betelgeuse is also called the Carina. They're like this red supergiant star at the end of its life. It says center of the planetary system of 5, about 700 light years from here. And there are different races that come from that place. Ones that have been recorded are the Iban and I think the Carians. They kind of like have a feathery kind of look to them. There's like feathers or something like that. They kind of look at the carrion looks like vultures. So it's tied to the sun. So astrologically speaking, I feel like that is going to be about the government. So systems, government. Um, Ignore the inside chart. That's my chart. Just transiting. It's going to be conjunct Betelgeuse to sun there. So, but then with the moon, because we're talking about people here, if there's any sort of encounter, it'll be through the Arcturians and the Spicans. Namely, there's another name for them called the Bootians, the Boots constellation. One of them is one of the past lives that most recent past life was in Izar. They're very tiny. They call the Anaki. They're called the Anaki. They're very short. Um, so I'm just saying, I just thought that was very interesting. So when it comes to galactic astrology as well, if you want to look into your own chart, if you want to draw it up, you can input your stuff at galactichistory.com. You can also go to AstroSeek. So these are not my website, of course. They're just places where you can input and get sort of information where you are. And then you can contact an astrologer or a galactic astrologer and say, what does that mean? Right? The other thing I've been doing with research on the fixed stars is because I've been doing research on them, like the way I do with the asteroids, I literally go like, what does this symbolize? What does this symbolize? The other thing that I noticed was when I did a reading, I'm going to stop sharing here. I did a reading for someone. This is very interesting because I forgot to mention that I'm also newish to mediumship or mental mediumship. And because my psychic ability started to kick in after I started doing the Wim Hof method. Who knew that ice baths and cold water therapy will help you kickstart your psychic abilities and then go further than that? So when I did a reading for someone, I was able to channel very different images, like triangles. It was a very interesting session. There's one particular session I had, and then I saw like portals going, they were going here, and it's like, then I looked into their chart, and I was like, but I was like I was called to look into, wait a second, that looks like black holes. I looked up black holes. There are 4 particular black holes that are used in galactic astrology, particularly by Julia Balaz: the Galactic Center, Super Galactic Center, the uh, just the Great Attractor, which is actually M87. It's the name for it. And then the Shapley Attractor. Shapley Attractor is the one that's attached to my sun. And there's a process between these black holes. There are lots of black holes. There are a lot of clusters out there. But these ones are apparently really connected in terms of the evolutionary real, again, like we're talking like shift of humanity. And like, and when I say humanity, I mean not everyone. I mean particularly those who have this in their charts. And if it's, let's say, if you are, I would say if it's, I wouldn't say it's transiting. You couldn't do black holes and fixed stars per se as transiting, because even fixed stars, they move like about 1 degree like a year per year, every 26 or is it 36 years, it moves 1 degree in a sign, for those who know what that means. It moves super slow. So you don't really look at transits in terms of that when it comes to galactic astrology. You could, but it's usually more stable than regular planets, asteroids, dwarf planets, centaurs, you name it. Um, and yeah, so when I did this reading, going back to the reading I did, it was wonderful because, how are we for time? 2 minutes. I saw that he came from another life. He came from another basically universe. Usually black holes for me, that's what it presents. And Flip Sedgwick describes them as like that. It's like this shifting of like, he called it not Philip Sedgwick, another person, transubstantiation. So black holes are wonderful. I love black holes. Because they're like game changers. We're talking like game changers. You're talking about many people in the past who have black holes attached to their sun, square, whatever it is, to any of your major planets. Yeah. So that's just to kind of like what galactic astrology does. It goes deeper into your past lives or recent past lives, especially when you have your sun in a specific fixed star, your moon, Mercury, personal planets, even all the way down to Pluto. Further down you go, the further in the past millions of years ago you were in that constellation or associated with that species. That's what Julia Balaz did research on. I do it where it's through microastrological methods, which for me, which is like detail, 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 detail. What does this represent? Literally at the physical, earthly, third dimensional level, and then connecting it to beyond. So that's what I kind of do. I know I'm kind of like way beyond time. What else can I say? Galactic astrology, all of the astrological disciplines, they're super fun. Because I really would recommend going to them and getting the information. But what's even more fun is for us in the community, the spiritual community. or even just people who are just awakening, do whatever you're doing, and this is kind of a fun thing for me. Um, from the heart, right? You do your whatever you're channeling. Everybody channels. But even if you're doing psychic or mediumship stuff, see if you can compare it to your charts. Go into your charts. Um, I'm in the process of, I don't know how I'm doing this yet. I don't know. People told me you should publish your book. And it's like, where do I go? Okay, how do I? And then I'm like looking at self-publishing and all that stuff. So, but anyways, yeah. So I think that's about it. Are we okay for time, Kristen, John?
Yes, yes. Thank you so much for sharing. It's fascinating information, and gosh, I know that a lot of rabbit holes could be gone down with galactic astrology. So thank you for giving us a little glimpse into what you get to do and
No,
how you
no
work with
problem. My
people. It's
pleasure.
wonderful. Yeah.
No
Thank
problem. My
you.
pleasure. Thank you.
Oh. Okay, I'm going to introduce our next speaker, and this is Ellie Basch. And John and I both are very connected to Ellie as well, and we've been studying alongside with her and from her and teach with her, and she's part of our soul family, and we just love you, Ellie. So a little bit about Ellie is that she is a psychic medium, Reiki with Angels Master, and a multimodal spiritual teacher whose path has been shaped by a lifetime of intuitive knowing. Raised in Java, she grew up in a culture where the mystical and unseen were part of everyday life. Yet she learned to quiet her gifts after moving to the United States. For 20 years, Ellie owned and operated a successful catering company, but everything changed when her mother's hospice journey ignited a profound spiritual awakening. From that moment on, Ellie stepped fully into her soul's calling. Deeply connected to her Arcturian and Syrian lineages, she now serves as a bridge between starseeds and their galactic families. Through initiations, healing work, energetic clearing, and petitions to the higher councils, Ellie supports starseeds in remembering who they are and reclaiming the truth of their multidimensional origins. Okay, Ellie, take it away.
Thank you, Kristen. Hi, everyone. Thank you all for being here, taking time out of your Saturday to listen to us, all the Island of Misfit Toys, talking about, unusual stuff. So this is great. And boy, I don't know about you guys. It's all the presenters. I'm like ready to go into a rabbit hole about my astrology. I mean, I follow my astrology horoscope and stuff, but now I'm just like, oh, I need my what is it? The cosmic astrology. So yeah, it's wonderful. And anyway, so in like Kristen said, John, Kristen and I, we belong to we used to teach together under Ellen Malloy Collective, and she is actually the founder of Ethereal Network that hosts this program. So some of us will be creating some content. Yours truly included. I don't know yet what it's going to be, but if you look at my office, it's set up for it. So one step at a time. Anyway, so I'm going to talk to you a little bit in the context of my galactic heritage, because it has taken me a couple years to get to know what I am here to do, to serve, which is to help adjust, clear, calibrate the star seeds energy, your star seed energy with the earthly frequencies. Okay. My growing up in Indonesia was very important in terms of getting me to stay connected to my psychic abilities. So I grew up with a grandmother from my father's side who was also a shaman, a Chinese shaman, and she told my mom to not block me. So I grew up for 21 years in Indonesia with my gifts and abilities unhindered. And then when I came to the US, I just kind of like, oh, I guess people don't talk about this stuff. And I just kind of, quiet. And so I called my spiritual awakening around 2018, 2019, when my mom was in hospice for terminal cancer, and I was thankfully able to be with her for 7 weeks. And being in Indonesia at that time, all the gifts coming in, the land spirit and everything, and the angels. So it was a really beautiful moment, and it took me 4 or 5 years to finally said, okay, my spirit guides were making work life difficult for me with my business partners. And so I finally surrendered and just said, okay, if this is what, I'm called to do, that's what I'm doing. So in my work with the star seeds, I somehow have this connection to work with the Council of Lights, specifically the Arcturian Council of Lights and the Orion Council of Lights. And I also have connection to the not federal federation, the Galactic Federations. And I was really confused. So to be honest with you, I never thought that I was a starseed. I was open. I like sci-fi, I'm like, okay, alien, cool, that's fine. But I never thought that I was a starseed because I'm quite a left brain. And I just thought I wasn't born in the years of what Dolores Cannon said, the wave of volunteers. So I just didn't think I was a starseed until January 2024. And it was in Reiki with Angel weekend with Ellen. This was before Chris and John joined. And I was catering the event. And so during the morning session, I was in the kitchen. And I joined the Reiki exchange in the afternoon after I feed people lunch. You can't be doing Reiki when you're hungry. But anyway, so I was in the kitchen. There's like windows all around, and we were in the woods in a state park. And I would see, by the way, I am clairvoyant, so I see a lot, and I have claircognizance and clairsentience. And I could see the fairies were surrounding on the wood's edge, but the angels were, protecting the sacred space for the Reiki with Angel weekend. And so I was just like, the fairies couldn't come in, but they're all waiting patiently. And then as I was scanning, I saw these 5 blue beings, and then off to the side, so the blue being was about 5-6 feet tall, and they looked like the Avatar characters. And then off to the side, there's this bluish gray being who's about 7-8 feet tall and wearing a robe. And I was like, those are weird fairies, right? And in the teaching collective, I had done a reading for a colleague, and one of her main spirit guide is this beautiful blue being. So I just thought this was for her. And I told her that night, I was like, hey, I think you have like your fairies here. And, this is the cool thing about talking with intuitives. You can just tap in energetically. And she's like, I don't think those are my guide. I'm like, really? I was like, okay. So we decided to ask our teacher, Ellen. And I said, Ellen, did you see these blue beings? And she's like, yeah. I said, those are her fairies, right? She's like, those are not fairies. Those are aliens. And they want to talk to you. Talk to me. It's just like, yeah, they want to talk to you about some like dark art defense. Now, because I told you my grandmother, my Chinese grandmother, I don't know if I told you or not, but she was a Chinese shaman, and she worked with land clearing, all this dark art defense. And so I was already practicing. I was already learning and being trained by the archangels to do this dark art defense. And so I was like, I have alien. I didn't know they do dark art defense in the galactic sense, in the galactic realm. I was like, well, okay. I was just like, all right, whatever. So that's how I got my first contact with the galactic beings. And as it happens, when it's divine time, you get the people that you need, right? You get the help that you need. So 2 or 3 weeks later, I was in class, and Ellen was teaching the class. And we always have a teacher's assistant because Ellen would just get so altered. So we have to do the Zoom and the technological stuff. And the teacher assistant that signed up got sick, and nobody else volunteered. So I was just like, well, I can do it. So I just showed up to assist. And when we paired up the students, there was like 1 student left. And so I get to be paired up with that student. And I said, okay. And I told the student, why don't you go ahead and read me first, right, as a practice? And as soon as we connect, she said, do you know you have a galactic guide? And I was like, I do, but I don't know who he is. And this was this blue gray being within a robe. And I said, can you help me? And she's like, he is Arcturian. I'm like, oh, okay. I knew nothing about Arcturian. I Googled everything afterwards. I was like, okay, well, that makes sense. So anyway, long story short, Arcturus, I'm really boring with names. So Arcturus became one of my main galactic guide. And he, showed up in my meditation and I'll be like, okay, what do you want to teach me? And so he had shown me many things, about the life in Arcturus. And also he had, brought me over to like the Galactic Federation, and he was showing me like that I've had many incarnations in Arcturus, and I work in the Galactic Federation. So these past lives that I knew are from meditations and out of body travels with Arcturus. But then as I get better, right? Because then he would be infusing, and you guys know when you get in a zone, you're doing things. So I would do land clearing, and the next thing I knew, I was guided to like, wait, there is a ley line that connects to the cosmic line, and it's corrupted. So I started doing more, imbuing the stuff that I'm doing, whether it's shamanic or Reiki, with a little bit of this galactic flavorings or seasonings. I'm a chef, so I'm like talking about seasonings. So, and it's hard, guys. I'm in meditation. I was just like, what do you mean there's a galactic ley line counterpart? But I have to stay focused, right? I'm just like, stay in the center, just let it flow, because otherwise I kick myself out of meditation. And I just go with whatever they show me. So now going to the Galactic Federations and learning that my past lives there have been very helpful. One of them is that I also have a Syrian connection, and I was working with the Galactic Federation. I work in the Ministry of Education, and so before I even knew about Syrian Mystery School, I went there and I got tours of the, Syrian Mystery School, because apparently I work in the Ministry of Education. That's a story for another day. And actually, I'm going to plug John's book. He asked me to write a chapter about that. So when it's published, you guys better get the book and read about the mystery schools in Syria, in Sirius. And then another time, I would be doing a Reiki with angels, and then they'll be like, oh, the Arcturus will show up, and it's just like, you need to activate this and activate that. And to me, it just looked like switches, right? So it's just like, turn on the panel, turn off the panel, snip the wiring, whatever it is. And I would get a download of what these are. Oh, and then they would be like, oh, there is like a vow that it already expired. So I'm also an Akashic record reader. And I'll be like, okay, what do I do? And they're like, we're going to go to Orion Council of Light. I'm like, all right, I don't know what that is, but we'll go. And then, they would be like, oh, this vow has expired. We can transmute them. Or sometimes they were like, well, it's written, this is part of his plan. He needs to fulfill this karmic lesson. Otherwise, he's still going to have that headache, or still having, whatever physical issues. You can't really heal it yet, Ellie. But they would give me clarity, and it would be from, Arcturian Light Council. So it's been amazing. It's been super weird, but I just go with whatever they showed me. And I think it's really interesting because I come in through the angel communication first, right? And then I started learning about shamanic practice, because Archangel Michael said, you are not ready to start charging. Because I said, okay, I've taken classes with Ellen. I know how to talk with angels. I'm going to start, opening up my psychic services. And Archangel Michael said, you're not ready. And I was like, okay. He said, you need to study shamanism. And I was like, no. I am not a shaman. look, I don't look like shaman, you know, because my 3D mind was like, I'm not a shaman. But anyway, I had another psychic. I got a psychic reading, and they were like, Archangel Michael just showed up. He said you need to study shamanism. And I was like, God dang it. Okay, fine. You know, bring me the shaman I need to study for. And then like a few days later, somebody mentioned this shaman, and I got a reading. And yeah, it's quite interesting. Almost lost my train of thought. But anyway, then I started learning about shamanic techniques and healings and stuff. And then they're adding this galactic stuff, you know? So anyhow, what I wanted to mention to you guys, because I asked the guys, I'm like, okay, you want me to, you know, want to talk about all this Council of Lights and stuff? And they were like, no, 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 no. The whole point is to remind everyone that we are all spiritual beings with our awesome multidimensional aspects of us, but we live on planet Earth. Okay. Our soul, our spirits do not have this physical ability to manifest anything physical. So we have to continue on our spiritual journey, not to leave this reality and just be out way up there woo woo, right? But you have to embody our skills, our abilities, our gifts that we have within us, right? And we're just reconnecting and we are bringing it out to help serve others. And for me, apparently, if you starseeds feel like, okay, I've done all this shadow work, self-healing, and it still feels, like Jordon said, you feel something niggling, right? And you're like, who can do this? And you'll know. You'll be like, you know what? I really like Jordon talking about the quantum healing, blah, blah, blah. Book a session with him. You know what? I really feel like I have this like stack of contract and curses and vows for slavery. And I feel like Ellie can help me with this. Your spirit guides will work with my spirit guides to bring you the people you need. But you have to do your work. And, you know, after you do your work, you're going to get all this information and you will be able to reach out and get the help that you need. Okay? Let's see. How am I doing on time? Okay. I still have like a minute, but I think I'm gonna go
Give you a
ahead
minute.
and give up a minute. Because I think if you guys have any questions, we will be talking more in the Q&A. So yeah, John, I'll
All
give
right. Thank you so much, Ellie.
you guys.
Hmm. All your chef metaphors made me reminded me that I forgot to eat lunch today. So I will be doing that very soon. So thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, Ellie. Just as a quick note, I owe Ellie my part of my awakening journey. She assisted me several years ago when I was having trouble connecting to the Akashic records, and we did a reading together where she was able to uncover a deep curse that was placed on me by not Isis, but Isis's pet dragon that got really mad at me. So I still kind of have a beef with that dragon. But once Ellie was able to release it, I was able to start working within the Akashic records and now became a Galactic Akashic reader. So I just want to thank all the presenters. I know we kind of had to rush. We all had to rush through some of our presentations. Being our first summit, we wanted to make sure, Kristen and I wanted to make sure that we didn't keep everyone here all day. I know some of these summits can go 6 hours, 8 hours, sometimes go for several days at a time. But we wanted to make sure that we gave everyone an opportunity to kind of give you a taste to the attendees of what we're talking about, as you know, and what we're all about, and channel any messages that we had from the galactic realm. But also, we wanted to do something that I think is a little bit different, and give the attendees an opportunity to ask questions directly to a certain presenter that they feel they may have connected with, or perhaps is confused about or just want to learn a little bit more about. So we're going to take till about 3:45 today to answer questions. So if the presenters can go ahead and hop on their cameras, and I am going to go ahead and monitor the participants' view. And so if you have a question, go ahead and just raise your hand, and I will we'll go ahead and answer them in the order that hands are raised. So if you'd like to ask a question or have a comment, a thought, feel free to go ahead and raise your hand now, and we'll take some time to address each attendee that is curious about something.
And I want to remind people that when questions are asked, and there's like a discussion around that, it helps everybody to download and integrate the information. So don't be shy.
I just want to point out to raise your hand is if you go to the bottom and there's a react emoji with the heart and you click, there's a raise hand. So I'm just putting my hand up like that. And then I
Good
can
point, Ellie. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
We use WebEx and it has like the raise hand. There's a
All
question.
right.
So.
Yeah, so Julie Lynn is breaking the ice in the chat. So if you feel like if you don't want to hop on and ask a question over a microphone, that's okay. You can put a question in the chat. Julie Lynn asks, Jordon, was there a message you are guided to share?
There was a message earlier on. I've managed to scribe it while I've been sat listening to everybody else. So they wanted me to share this. Beloved beings of Earth and Starlight, we welcome you to the space of remembrance during this Galactic Ascension Summit. It is about recalibration and radiant conversion. As we enter the session and throughout the session and the incoming days, months, weeks, and years ahead, please invite your awareness to its highest enlightenment through your breath, your spirit, and the luminous stream that assists you through your entire soul lineage. Breathe in through your oversoul and breathe out through the earth grid. Breathe in through the lifetimes that you seek resolution and breathe out into the harmonic presence of now. We now call forward all of the flames of remembrance, and that's for obviously each of you. So you want to kind of find out what your spirit name is, your harmonic, and your essence, which is what I referred to earlier on with regards to my triadic name. And you can do that by linking to your spirit teams. But the next part of the message is through the triadic names that you will be given, this is a sacred space. May all distortions be dissolved, all fragments returned, and all timelines harmonized in your most highest potential as you walk your journey through your human existence. We welcome the presence of you as a founder, your galactic and celestial guides, and your heritage that is divinely guided to your oversoul at this time. And as we close this session, remember, you're not here to learn, but you're here to remember, not to reflect, not to fix, but to reclaim your divine sovereignty.
Wow,
So
that's
thank
beautiful.
you for reminding me.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Jordon.
You're welcome.
Christina.
Hey, John.
Hey.
So my question is for you about the disclosure.
Okay.
From what I've heard is that especially the US government has reverse engineered alien technology. And so a lot of the spacecrafts that we see are man handled. So what do they plan on doing that is different that will, because I feel like people are still going to think like it's AI or something, but that's going to be like, no, this is galactic. This is not man-made. This is who we are. I guess if they're going to do anything different where people, it's going to be more certain that it's like, okay, well, that's AI, or that could possibly man-made or something.
Sure, and that is a very difficult thing, especially in the age of AI now. We can, just about anybody could create a some kind of, fake news, as somebody that we all know loves to say. The reason why they're going to do this is, or the way that they're going to do this is basically a much more open. There's going to be there's going to be very little to no way for governments to say, oh, that was just swamp gas, that was just something else. This is going to be at a point where millions of people are going to be able to actually see it. So not at night during a fuzzy video or anything along those lines. This is going to come at a time when our planet needs a very distinct timeline shift. Presently, right now, what we're on is something that is, I don't want to be alarming, but it's somewhat, we're on a timeline at the present moment that's going to be a little bit more challenging for humanity. And, we can already feel that now. 2026, 2025 has been leading up to that, with tensions around the world, wars, revolutionary spirit, not only in the United States, but in other countries like Iran and other places now. And the way we're heading is to the point where the Galactic Federation, the Arcturians, as Jose mentioned, and that channeled to me as well, is they need to intervene in such a gentle way that to show the world that we are not alone, that we have a place in the galactic realm, a seat on the galactic realm to take at some point. Again, this is not going to be an overnight process where we're just going to start, we'll all hit the fifth dimension and all we're big smiles and gleaming on our face and it's all light and love. There's going to be a little bit of adjustment period, but they're going to provide us with those knowings, those awakenings, learning more about ourselves. Our many more psychic abilities are going to be opening up for not just us, but the unawakened. And that is all part of the ascension process. But again, it's not an overnight process. This could take, I've seen roughly within 100, 150 years that we start taking more of a seat on the galactic table. But again, it's at a very slow pace to make sure that we're ready for it. Because right now, I don't want to see a human landing on a different planet, just because that human's natural inclination is to shoot first and ask questions later. And just think about all ourselves and do a real reality check. If we saw an alien walking onto our property, even if they have a big smile on their face, we're probably going to be freaking out a little bit. And that's just something that we all have to adjust to. So the idea of just this Stargate opening up in the sky and a ship just coming down and hovering for several moments, where millions of people can see with their own eyes, as well as take cameras and different videos and photos of it, is going to be that way of breaking the ice, essentially. And when I want to kick it over to Kristen real quick to talk a little bit about why, because I did a sanity check with her last year when I had this message, and she got a little bit more information from the Galactic Federation as well.
How'd you know? I was like itching to speak because I was like unmuted. I was like, I have something to say.
You're like my twin, so I got it. You're like tugging my.
So, like I would say about a year and a half ago, I was shown these series of events as well of the ETs, the galactic coming onto Earth. And then the galactic archangels like letting me know just a little bit about what I shared with you guys earlier when I was speaking too, is that it's been happening slowly, and it's going to continue to happen a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more, because humans, like John said, they tend to kind of freak out, right? They are not intending to scare anybody. That's not their intention. So that's why it's going to be like, we're going to start seeing things. More people are going to awaken. Those of us that have awoken to our galactic heritage and our light workers and star seeds, we are there to help others when they are ready. So we are here helping to anchor, and we're here to help people open up to that idea and help them clear their energy systems so that they are also willing and ready to help as well. Because we want to work in unity. This is part of it. That's part of why the message that I got for this summit was unity, the coming together of all the species, the galactic species. And they're not just working with each other, but they're also working with the angelic archangels. That's why there was the combination and the alternating of the angelic archangels. And then when John came to me, and I was also seeing, like, they were showing me also the increase of crop circles. And I'm like, well, why do you do it in farms? They're like, there's the space. It makes it very clear that there was a spaceship here. And so we're going to see an increase of that. Spaceships are going to be more visible to more people, like John said too. And then when John came to me and he's like, okay, because, sometimes we have to check with each other. Like, am I losing it? Is this, and it's okay, you guys, like, we all kind of feel like that sometimes. And so that's why we have these amazing colleagues and communities and soul families, so that we can be bouncing information off of each other and just kind of like checking, because we are able to check in on each other's like visions. Okay. And then we get more information. So I was able to get more information. And so I was like, John, you're not crazy. I'm seeing that this disclosure agreement happened before. I can't remember now what I said. Was it the 1940s? Is that right, John?
I believe it was 1954.
Okay, 1954. So there was like a date that I got, and people were not ready. And so they kind of came in, the Galactic Federation and other beings came in, and they showed me like this, like the Men in Black, how they hold up the stick, right? And they're like, and zap, memory gone. And I was like, okay, so we weren't ready. And so they're hoping that we're all ready now, this coming June, you guys. And we're more awoke than we were. And we absolutely are. So there's going to be, most people are going to totally forget it. Because if they come in and the disclosure agreement does not go right, they're going to be pulling up that Men in Black stick again and kind of erasing people's memory, or just kind of like closing it down for now until you remember later, right? Because Beth is right. We are remembering. We're not necessarily totally just awakening to everything. It's a remembering. But there will be those of us that we will not forget, because we need to continue marching on that path to help people awake. Hopefully it's in this lifetime.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed, you guys.
Yeah, I want to mention that humanity's fall is not on the table. That is not one of the timelines. I've seen a couple of different timelines through readings with clients, and we have two that are kind of at play right now. One of them is that we take the hint from this disclosure in June, and we ascend forward, and roughly 21, I think it's like mid 2100s, we're essentially in a really good place, and we're starting to get out there into the galactic realm and on a very good pace. If we miss this and we have to go back to the timeline that we're on right now, it would take another couple of 100 years to get to that point, but we will get there. So no matter what, humanity is on the right path, and we are going in the right direction. It just may take a little bit more time, but don't worry, the soul is indestructible and eternal, and we'll be around anyway for a little bit longer. Let's see, Ellie, you have your hand raised?
Yeah, I just want to add a couple of things just to add to what you guys already said. John mentioned that psychic abilities are coming on more for a lot more people. So all of you guys here, you already have tap into your own intuitive ability. So just remember, when we work on ourselves, we are able to anchor in on a higher frequency and
Okay.
seeing aliens and other beings, your spirit guides. It was just like we're closing the gap, right? Like they're on this really high dimension, say they're on the ninth dimension, and you're able to kind of go up to the fifth and sixth dimension, and they come down a little bit. So then you getting more connection and stronger connection. You're able to get the messages, and so it's just your own sensitivity to receive and tap into the extraordinary reality is helping you, and it's helping the whole humanity to ascend as well. So yeah, that's all that I wanted to add. So thank you.
And Beth had put a comment in there. So much sci-fi is soft disclosure. It absolutely is, you guys. Like the more, and it's becoming even like more clear. I sent this movie to John. I can't remember what it is now, but it's a movie that's coming out very soon. And it's like after we talked about all of this stuff, like I think Ellie was in this conversation with John and I too, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's like what we were just talking about. And of course, it's no coincidence that it then like popped up on my social media feed. But when you have to think too, when there's information out there in movies and books and things like that, they're channeling. Everybody channels. If you're writing something, you're channeling. So if you didn't think you were a channeler, guess what?
Yeah. So
channeling.
yeah, so Star Wars is channeled. Star Trek obviously is channeled. Battlestar Galactica, Lyra, and Vega, that was channeled through them. So yes, Disclosure Day is the actual movie that is coming out by Steven Spielberg on June 6th. And I looked up because I wasn't sure what day June 24th was. It's a Wednesday. It's hump day, which means we're all going to need something to get over the hump of the week, and a little bit of disclosure and realizing we're in our galactic existence is right there. So let me go to Koi, who's been patiently waiting to ask her question.
Hi. So first, I just want to thank all the presenters today. The information was fabulous, very insightful. I keep making comments, but to know that like not only was your message just so good, but the energy that was flowing through the message was incredible. I mean, I could feel it like I had to like close my eyes and take some breaths sometimes just to kind of regulate. So it was really, really good. And very truthful. Like, so what I had a question about is a couple of things. One, you mentioned January, right? And we've been feeling something's going to happen in January. So it's interesting that you brought in, you know, I think you said January 26th or 24th.
Oh, sorry, June 24th.
Oh, June. Okay.
We have plenty of events that'll be happening in the next month or
Oh, I
two
was going to
anyway,
say
so.
okay, something else is going on in January, so I know it is. But okay, so June. Okay, we'll go to June. We'll skip January for now, unless you want to talk about it later, which we can. And then so that June date is the disclosure date that you're talking about. Okay, because I thought you were talking about two different things, so that clears that up. And then my one other question, a couple of questions is with regards to you said as because many of us who are in here are not just in here because we stumbled upon it. Clearly, it's information we need, and a lot of us here are star seeds or light workers and things. So when you talk about gifts opening up, because if we're already kind of working in this, what does that look like? If you could just share some information, and then I had another question.
Do you have any specific person you'd like to ask?
Oh, anyone who feels called to answer.
All right. Who'd like to answer that?
This is Ellie. I know one thing that is opening up for people are telepathic communication. And we may just, not necessarily immediately like, oh, I can talk to my cousin in Australia and we're having chit chat conversation. It's not going to be like that, but it's probably going to be like you're thinking about them, and then the next day was just like, hey, you pop in my head, or hey, I was dreaming about you. So it would be subtle because we have to remember our body, our physical body, mind, emotion is dense, right? So we cannot be too surprised. Otherwise, we're like, oh my God, we freak out. So that's one thing. Another thing is just people's willingness to pause and like take a break from just go, 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 go every day, because we need to create pauses to be reflective and reconnect with our intuition. So I think less resistance in following our intuition is another way. To me, it feels like another way people are getting more of their abilities and their clairs opening up.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna piggyback onto that too, Ellie, because that's such important information. Trust also that there's divine timing in everything. Sometimes we get frustrated and impatient, and Ellie can attest to my impatience with my spiritual journey. And it makes me laugh because guess what? That comes up a lot when I'm telling my students, and my clients and my patients is have patience. And I know that it can be frustrating because it's like, oh, I want the next step and I want to know the next thing and I want the other abilities to open up. But if you're doing the work, it will happen. And I truly actually do believe that it will happen also in the next life. Like, we're not going to have to start all over from square one. Because I was like, oh, dang it. Gosh, now that I'm like, have all of my abilities open again, because I started out this life with my abilities open until I started having trauma at age 3. And then I was shown how I shut everything down until my early 40s when I started my biggest spiritual awakening. And now I'm like 47. So it's been a process, right? So have patience with yourself and have balance. There's got to be a balance. I look at like the 3 pillars of health being the physical, the mental, emotional, and the spiritual. And I was missing personally the spiritual aspect for so long that it started corrupting the mental, emotional, and the physical. So there's got to be that balance. There are a ton of timeline jumps in 2026, and they started in December into January. So if you think 2025 went fast, hold on to your pants, you guys, and your skirts, because 2026, I'm already like, oh my gosh, where has the year gone? And it's only mid-January. So it's pretty wild. Yeah, balance. Yeah.
All right. Beth, you have your hand up.
Hi, I just thought I'd respond. I saw the question that Seth put in the chat, and I want to say hi, Seth, because he's a longtime old friend.
And hi, babe. Hi, Seth, babe.
Hi, Seth, babe. So he was asking, what does the galactic community think about, politics on planet Earth? And what comes through for me a lot is around I think what they want for humanity to do is not get like caught up in the polarization. And so a lot of times, we're being really pitted against each other as human beings. We're like kind of being manipulated into taking one side or another and losing our sense of like openness to a bigger story that's unfolding. Some of that's timeline stuff, like you're saying, Kristen, where it's like trust a higher timeline here, because like what looks like the end of the freaking world is actually the beginning of the new earth as well. It's like, if you are kind of bringing your consciousness down and into that polarized drama, you're shutting your consciousness down, and it's blocking you from participating in a higher ascension timeline for planet Earth. So that's what I think that they're saying. And like, there's real legitimate like narratives that are behind what's going on. it is an intentional thing that like we're being manipulated about things, but we have the power. If we go inward to find truth and alignment, we're not going to be falling prey to that, and we're going to be able to participate in something bigger. And some of us, and it doesn't mean that we don't take part in trying to mitigate harm for other human beings, because it doesn't mean that like the political world does have a really difficult impact, and there will be some difficult growth in the form of like, harm done, but we'll do our best to take care of other humans without getting caught up in these like, good and evil kind of narratives. So that's my take on it. I'd love to hear what anyone else is thinking. I will lower my hand now.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking very similar. So in the galactic realm, higher dimensional beings, fifth dimension and up, there is very little, if almost no duality as the way we see it on Earth, the way we feel it. They might be a higher consciousness, but as humans living in a 3D realm, we have a expanded consciousness. So we can love, we can fear, we can hate, and go right back to love in like the same conversation with somebody. Whereas in the galactic realm and in fifth dimensional and above consciousness, there is more of a recognition of the frequencies, but they do not see it as a black and white, as a good and bad, evil, level of consciousness. They recognize frequencies, and that's why they can see something, but they don't say, "Oh, that's evil." Somebody once asked me earlier last year is why were the Lyrans attacked if they were in a higher dimension? Well, there is less of that. There's no duality there, but there is wars in the galactic realm. There is conflict. There are arguments. It's just that with this higher level of consciousness, they perceive these energies as just frequencies, and they do not take it along as like karmic baggage into the next lifetime. Whereas on Earth, because we experience duality, we feel what's going on in that past life, and we take it on as like a karma or a karmic baggage, or it affects us more on a soul level. Whereas in in a higher frequency, we're not going to be feeling it. We can acknowledge, oh yeah, my Arcturian life, I was cut short because I was blown up, in an accident. Well, I'll make sure not to die in the next life. Where as humans, we might be feeling it as if we need a healing for that because we are in that lower dimensionality. Ellie, you had your hand up. Did you want to?
Yeah, I just wanted to add more like sharing, piggybacking on what Beth said. Our job right now as a light worker, we chose to come in this really hard turning point in life, and we are here because we want to help, right? And it is hard as heck, right? I got annoyed sometimes when people was like, "You're such a light." I was just like, God dang it, it's really hard to be a light. So, but I just wanted to share, like, remember that everything is in a spectrum, right? The good and the bad, and there's a lot of gray area in the middle. Our job as a light worker is knowing, recognizing the whole spectrum, but choose not on one side or the other, but try to be as center as possible. Okay. And it requires work, it requires self-healing, it requires us to like cleanse and cut cords with some people, and sometimes you can cuss and make sure you put them in transmutation orb so you're not dirtying the universe, although I will clean it up in my shamanic meditation later. But one thing that I wanted to share with you was a quote from Jane Goodall when she passed away. And she said, every single one of us can make a difference, okay? And it doesn't matter how small your contribution is. Choose wisely because it affects others, okay? We're in it together. We're interconnected. So don't give up hope. Don't don't give up hope, but also don't do spiritual bypassing. And it's just like, I'm not all love and light, and I'm not, seeing all this suffering. So do what you can in your local, in your family, in your friend circle. Start small, but those little things we do adds up, and it has ripple effects. That's all. Thank you.
I'll piggyback too. um, as John was saying, the duality, take it back to yin and yang. There's always, and Seth and Beth, you guys will really understand this, but it's that simplicity of that one does not exist without the other. And that's why there is the good and the bad and the dark and the light, and there are spiritual wars in the galactic as well. And then you have to look at things, how things are going on here on Earth too. The rise of masculine energy is continuing to rise and continuing to rise, and it's starting to collapse because it's out of balance between that female and male. We have to have that balanced energy between that male and female energy. So Gaia, her female energy is starting to rise up more, and that feminine energy is starting to rise up more to create that balance. And then we'll see more of a shift. And that's going to have like a ripple effect, not just here on Earth, but it's going to have, I just got goosebumps everywhere. It's going to have a ripple effect throughout the multiverse, because what we do here also affects them, because they are invested into us. They do care about what happens on Earth. They love Earth. Earth is not, for the babies, right? It is for a lot of advanced beings, because we bring that knowledge to us, and we are wanting all of these experiences, as hard as they are. But it's also so wonderful. Think about how lucky we are that we get to be here. Think about how lucky we are that we get to have all of the emotions and love so hard and so deeply. So, yeah, thank you.
All right. So Jennifer asked, speakers have referenced starseed and lightworker. What is the difference? I've read that starseeds are people of certain age and born after a certain time frame. Is that true? And Ellie beat us to the punch and said, starseeds are those who recognize we have stardusts, galactic heritage, connections. Lightworkers are us who have a higher purpose to help humanity beyond just living the day, to do to earn beyond earning a living. I hope this makes sense. So, Jennifer, just real quick. So, once Earth was discovered long time ago, and the galactic races started to assist humanity in the ascension process, there were many volunteers from those races that began to incarnate into humans. So galactic souls would come into human bodies, as well as angelic souls as well would come. And those were, in essence, star seeds. But the term why it's coming up now in the vernacular and hasn't been, used prior to the last 100 years is because star seeds are actually starting to awaken. Because just like Kristen mentioned, this is the time period, or maybe Ellie mentioned, one of you mentioned, that there was this specific time period in our history that we are awakening to those galactic, to those galactic frequencies, that we're seeing all these, sightings. There's UFOs and crop circles and all this, is because we're getting to the point in our history where it's finally time to reconnect with our galactic brothers and sisters and others out there. And that's why the star seed is actually coming in, and that's why we're saying, we're recognizing our own galactic frequencies within our own souls. Whereas, one or two incarnations ago, I wouldn't have thought of human. My previous life, I probably would have never thought, oh, I'm a starseed or I'm an alien. Even just up until 6 years ago, I never really thought I was an alien, even though my family told me I was. But just like that, there, that's becoming more in the vernacular. Kristen.
Mhm. And I mentioned this briefly when I was speaking earlier, but many of us are starseeds and light workers. And so it's an honor and a privilege to be able to hold space for any light workers and starseeds that come our way, because there's a lot of work to be done. like we're all talking about, and everybody's recognizing. So
yeah. Jordon is sending me telepathic nudges. So Jordon, what are you trying to do? Stop
I'm not
taking in my
telling you
etheric
to.
hair.
I'm not doing. I was actually laughing at what Coy put in the chat with regards to obviously the two timelines, and I was like, "Go on then, John." But then Ellie's went and said, "Look at your website, etc.," and mentioned the book. So I was just like chuckling away to myself while you were talking. But I will add on, like obviously in the wider kind of context of all the different things that we've spoke about. Um, you know, it's interesting with regards to obviously what Kirsten's just said, because that's what's obviously like, coming in, because I've just heard it lately. Obviously with the rise of the masculine and the feminine and all that balance and everything else, yeah. But it's also, you've got to remember that you've got to balance that within yourself. So what you've got to do the work on your lower chakras and really, really do the cleansing and clearing in these. And this is a general statement, so please don't take it personally. There's a lot of people in the spiritual community that literally go, okay, right, okay, we'll do this chakra meditation and we clear and we cleanse and all the rest of it. But then as soon as they activate their gifts, they start sitting in their solar plexus, their heart, their throat, their third eye, and their crown, and then they forget to do the lower work. And that's where the denser energy sits. And that's what makes it hard for all of us, us as practitioners, because that is where you're holding all of those dense energies. You're bringing them in on the higher frequencies. And if you're not cleansing and clearing when you're connecting in any way, shape, or form, whether it's galactically, whether it's spirit, evidential mediumship, trans mediumship, whatever you sit in, you need to make sure that you really, really close yourself down properly and say, my energy stays with me and your energy stays with you, i.e. referring to whoever it is that you're connecting to, whether it's spirit, whether it's galactic, etc. And really, please do the work on your lower three chakras and really, really connect to Mother Earth every day. And, because a lot of people just go to the root and just do the 7 main chakras. But you've got to remember that there's so many more within that. There is a medium point between each chakra. Yeah. So you've got to do that as well. And then there are some people that I'm aware of that do this on YouTube, etc. But, if you ask your team, you'll be guided to where you need to go. That's the easiest way of saying it, yeah? But at the same time, with regards to that, what I would say to you is, when you're connecting with Mother Earth over and above your root and sending it down, like Kirsten did that lovely meditation at the start of the summit, really, really go to the crystal core of Mother Earth and find your crystal. Ask your guides to take you to your crystal to really center you and bring up either, your blue light, your green light, whatever it is. And it can be any of the spectrums of the rainbow, to be fair. But most people tend to go for blue straight away because that's kind of what comes up. But then that color will change through the spectrum as it comes up through your feet chakra and into your body. Be very aware of how that is, energetically shifting within your body as well. That's kind of like what I'm seeing with a lot of people. They get activated and they're like, oh yes, blah blah blah, and they're off. But then they forget that as a practitioner, we've got to do so much work for ourselves to make sure we're in the right place for our clients and our customers and our wider community. And I mean, I'm guilty of it myself in my earlier days, but I learnt the lesson very hard. So I feel like I need to share that, very much so. But with regards to obviously the sort of political side, I think was mentioned. I feel personally from some of the information that I've got, and there's some bits I can't share, but I'll say this, that there are certain energies or shifts that people are probably already aware of. And there's going to be quite a dramatic shift on a political scale this year from what I've saw, sensed, field, etc. And there's going to be quite a few new leaders stepping up to the parapet, shall we say, and older ones being removed in whatever way that may be. And that's the bit that I can't disclose because I've seen different things. So I'll leave that there.
Thank you, Jordon. And stop
You're
pulling my
welcome.
etheric hair. Like I got very little left. So, all right, Beth.
I just thought I'd add a little bit about, here, let me lower my hand. It's distracting. Just about kind of timelines and a really interesting piece of astrology to look at. So if we look at the timelines from Atlantis, they took that time on Earth took place during the age of Leo. So during the spring equinox, it's like the equatorial age of Leo. That means the constellation of Leo was rising on the horizon, facing the Sphinx during the age of Atlantis, right? So we are sitting at the exact polarity because Leo and Aquarius sit opposite one another on the zodiacal wheel. So what we're doing right now is opening up, we're completing a polarity between what happened during Atlantis and what's now happening today. So they had access to higher tech. There was a lot of issues around that, around the use of it. And here we are again in this technological age where the advancement of the true tech that we really need to move forward to do the ascension process, which has a whole aspect to it that's explained very well by physics, meaning we need a free energy, we need a decentralized power on this planet, both politically and actually the power source itself that would come from space, that we would all have equal access to. So it's just interesting to see that we need to then, the ascension is both free energy, decentralization of power, and literally ascending, being able to get in a plasma ship and leave if we wanted to, right? Like beep, 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 there we're ascending. But we need to, the consciousness has to catch up. And that's where we're all coming into play, is if we're not ready for this, when this starts getting ready to roll out, we're going to see, and I know a lot of people are holding the timeline where it's not going to happen. It is going to happen in the positive, but just to know that it still means, it doesn't mean we don't have a lot of work to do. Knowing it's going to work out doesn't mean we don't need to do all of that shadow work, all the stuff Jordon was just referring to. All of us have been saying, get into those lower chakras, get anchored, do the transformational work. And the reason why there are so many light workers on this planet and starseeds waking up is because we're at this evolutionary threshold. We are in that quickening. People are getting downloads so freaking fast right now. I mean, you guys, how insane is this? Like what happens in a week's time in terms of consciousness is unfreaking real. And it's cool. And here we are doing this cool stuff. And I'm just stoked about this community here coming together. So anyway, just thought I'd get excited with everybody.
All right. Thank you, Beth. So we're getting very close to 4 o'clock. So why don't we go ahead and wrap things up, Kristen? I just want to say thank you to everyone. Thank you to all the presenters for coming on. We're talking behind the scenes, and next time, our next summit, we'll make sure to give everyone probably at least a half hour. We just don't want to keep everyone here today too long. So, but we'll make sure to give everyone a longer stage next time and invite you all back. So, Kristen, do you have any last parting messages as well?
Gosh, I think, we just, and I'm going to speak on behalf of all of the hosts, presenters, speakers. Just thank you so much for being open, for your presence, for bringing your own unique gifts. Today, we're just so honored to share this space with everybody and to be part of this community. And it's just been such a lovely, well, it's still morning my time, technically. It's been such a lovely morning to be here with everybody. And I do want to do a closing of the space and a quick closing meditative healing. And whether people have hopped off already or listening to this later, everybody will be included in this, just like they were included in all of the information for the entire summit. And then we'll take a minute just to like put everybody's contact info in there as well. So just as we started today, I would like everybody to please find yourself in a comfortable position, close your eyes, and refocus your breath, because this has been a lot of exciting information and I can feel like my excitement bubbling, but now it's time to also ground everybody back down into Gaia so that we can live and experience these beautiful 3D human experiences and lives that we chose to do and chose to experience. Everybody take a nice deep breath in through your nose and out your mouth. Feeling and allowing that flow of energy and breath to move through your body, your lungs, your diaphragm, your abdomen, your hips, your legs, your feet, and reconnecting deep down into Gaia. Know that she is always there to support you. Just as the divine is, the divine feminine and the divine masculine. Please ground and center everybody's metaphysical and physical bodies together. Recalm nervous systems. A couple people were still floating out into space. Thank you. And I'm very honored. And I want to thank all of the galactic and angelic and other beings that have been present with us today. And everybody for showing up and doing the work and being a part of this practice and this timeline. Yeah, just thank you so much. John, you have let everybody know about maybe offerings.
Yeah, so thank you to all the attendees that came in today and gave us your time and your attention. So as a gift, the presenters have offered some of their different services and some different coupon codes, as well as meditations, ebooks, and whatnot for all of you. So in the next couple of days, please check your emails or even your spam folder from a thank you from all of us to you with these offerings. So we greatly appreciate the time again that you've taken to spend with us today. And if you are interested in more about the galactic realm, many of our presenters teach galactic classes or healings. Also, Kristen and I will be hosting a retreat in Mount Shasta in May, just a few short weeks from the galactic disclosure. So we are looking forward to hearing from you, from seeing you, from working with you very soon. So thank you so much.